call officials to explain decisions that cause budget mismanagement, and then they recommend corrective action so the problem will happen from when not happen again. But what about the money we are spending right now, the PAAC? That's how Public Administration and Appropriations Committee pretty much means your money will protect as it happen we check, while projects go on things are accurate. As government spend the nation's budget, PAAC reviews it. They examine proposals and summon officials to find problems before them don't use it. So the PAC and PAAC are two parliamentary committees that watch over the country's wallet to protect the budget and keep it in check. And you can get involved. Just visit jampja.org.
Send the something and come back. Back to sender. God, I thank you so much.
Miracles await and miracles abound. Tune in every Sunday at 7 a.m. for your share of the Miracle Revival Hour with Reverend Dr. Blair. Come for the word, stay for the worship, right here on PBCJ.
Miracle worker, work one for me.
Are you an entrepreneur producing an excellent Jamaican product or service? Did you know you can earn hard currency and more significant returns by exporting? Contact the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce to help propel your business along the export lane.
Everything you can produce, the Jamaicans overseas want it. We're not going to get rich by just bringing down the debt. We're going to get rich by exporting a lot more. So grow exports, create job opportunities, drive economic growth through exports to make Jamaica a richer and much more prosperous country.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Your government is empowering you through education, training, and development. That is why we have removed all fees for every Jamaican accessing training through the Heart NSTA Trust. So, whatever you desire training in, food and hospitality, beauty and cosmetology, housekeeping and hotel management, welding, carpentry, masonry, or any of the dozens of programs Heart offers, you can enroll completely free and change your life. We are building Jamaica.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Each year, the Jamaican Parliament approves billions in tax dollars to buy goods and services for Jamaicans. Awarding contracts to private companies to provide public goods and services is called public procurement, and it is a major hotspot for corruption. Can citizens spot the red flags in public procurement and help the government protect our taxes? Yes, they can. And here are 6 to watch for. Direct contracting. When contracts are frequently awarded to one supplier without other companies competing to offer a better price and quality, we usually end up paying more and getting less. Contract splintering. Big projects need big money and higher level approvals. But if the contract is cut up into smaller ones, it won't need external approval from offices like the Public Procurement Commission or Cabinet. This makes it easier for contracts to avoid additional scrutiny. Timing of advertisements. Contracts advertised during distracting periods like the holidays can result in less competition and a really strong advantage for the favored company. Like Christmas time, work slows down and companies are less attentive to business opportunities. Emergency contracting. Claiming emergencies allows officials to legally bypass normal procurement rules, making it easier to award contracts to favored companies. Contract timing. Contracts awarded just before or after election can be payback for campaign support and not based on what Jamaicans really need. Collusion. And what if penalties are not enforced when work is poorly done? This could be a contractor and public official working together for private benefit. And if it is, this is collusion. These flags do not prove corruption, but they trigger questions that citizens must ask. So mind your business, Jamaica. Visit the JAMP Procurement Tracker to monitor government contracts. If you spot these flags, use our ATI tool to ask questions and demand accountability.
Peace begins with us. Every act of kindness, Every step towards understanding brings us closer to a brighter tomorrow. Let's choose unity, compassion, and hope. Together, we can build a future where peace reigns.
Brighter tomorrow.
Starting today.
Jamaica, let's spread the word around to let the world know that we are proud to be one republic. We on the road to republic. Well then, let's propel we nation, moving forward in a new direction. True independence, that's the projection. No more dependency, it's the best plan. Yes, we know what's best for us, cause we want we country prosperous. So make we just pull together as the general public while on the road to republic. Jamaica, let's spread the word around to let the world know that we are proud to be one republic. We on the road to republic.
A message from the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
We on the road to republic. We and the youths united against corruption, changing the world and the way we function. The youths united against.
But equally as impressive, and I'm sure that's why you're here, is to also hear Senator the Honorable Aubin Hill, or Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce. He will be briefing you on the cement issue, because that's been one that's been in the public domain quite a bit, so you'll be hearing about that. He's been doing tremendous work there. I also want to acknowledge the Honorable Delano Seavright. I've not seen you here in Post-Cab. Welcome to Post-Cab. He is the Minister of State in the Ministry of Education. I was putting in education. The Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. We have space. All right, but it's good to have you here, Minister Seavright. It's not usual that we see you here, so it's very good to have you here this morning. I also want to acknowledge the permanent secretaries who should be here but aren't here. I want to acknowledge the teams from the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and also the Ministry of National Security and Peace, who are here supporting the ministers. We have some student leaders, as always, here. I have Malik Harris, who is representing the National Youth Council of Jamaica, and Mr. Keshawn McGraw, President of the UE Guild, and other members of the executive of the UTEC Students Union. We also have lots of members of the media, Jamaicans watching at home and abroad. Good morning again to you all. And we're going to get started as we keep this tight. So first up, we're going to have Minister Hill come to give you an update on some important adjustments that have been made to serve the business community and the broader rebuilding effort that's taking place in Jamaica. Minister Hill, we look forward to your presentation this morning. Please welcome him.
Oh, I'm on this side? Yes. All right. I'm generally not on the left side, but I'm over here this morning. My good colleague, wonderful friend, Minister Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, thank you so much for hosting these week after week and for being here with us today. Cement is a very important part of any country's business, especially one that is developing and building. And wherever I've worked around the world, many economists look at what's happening to cement to know what's happening in the economy. We've had since many years now as a cement producer here. We realized that as a major investor in the country, and by now, last year, the year before last year, they put in between 40 and about $60 million US invested in Jamaica, a total now of well over $100 million US invested. So we have to have that production ability in our country as we build out our country. That, though, is not sufficient. We had to have a safety valve. So we gave one importer buying house, as you all know, the right to import up to 15% of the production capacity of cement company, even while cement company from time to time, when they close the factory, have to import, and we give them import amounts as well. Because of Melissa, after Melissa, in October, cement sales dropped to very, very small amounts. Nobody was building. We had to clean up the streets. I remember I was all over the country, all 7, 8 of them, looking at getting mom and pop shops back together. So cement demand really fell. It started to grow again near the end of November, and certainly into December, January. It grew a lot, much more than, frankly, many importers and producer expected. In addition to that, the cement company had just put in a new kiln right in February, March area. One of the conveyors, brand new stuff they brought from Italy, didn't work. It's a mechanical system. Even your fancy cars, sometimes when you pay all that money, sometimes it doesn't work. That didn't help. Then there was a rainy season that happened, and even the clinker that they dig out of the ground over there in Rockfort was too wet to make the kiln work. A number of things came together. Because of Melissa buying house, 4 warehouses, big warehouses in Montego Bay, lost their roofs, cement was lost, cement company had to step in to produce. So a number of things came together, and we had a shortage. People heard about the shortage. It began to sink into, I went out into the market myself, Clarendon and elsewhere. We had my technical people from the ministry. We checked with at least 16 distributors, and we realized what the shortage was. But out of that, we got market information. So we gave, cement company had to import more. Buying house came back into the market. Above their quota, they got additional amount. They started to import. And of course, when you're importing cement, you can't always get what you want. You have to get ships. It's a complex arrangement. So when we got to that, we had to take extra steps. Cabinet, of course, with information that we got from the market, we had to look at compounding average annual growth rate, CAGR, and see how we project what cement demand will be. And out of that, we decided that, after discussion at Cabinet, we're going to offer other importers apart from buying house. There were 3 or 4 others that the Cabinet approved, that they could import various amounts of cement to make sure that the demand that now after Melissa is gone, people are putting on back their roofs, but they're not putting on metal roofs. Many of them are slabbing their roofs, more cement. You have to build back the houses, some of them that were blown down, more cement. You're building roads, sometimes roads and culverts need cement. So the demand was great. So we at Cabinet decided who we would give additional amounts to, and we did that, and therefore we know now that the demand supply equilibrium is coming back to normalcy. We know cement company has imported a lot more. The new importers are out there setting up their arrangements. So cement has become much less of a subject. The shortage has become, and we know that the supply is here to meet that demand. I must tell you, though, that the demand we're looking at does not have anything right now to do with NARA. When NARA comes in, there's going to be a whole different calculation, because big projects are going to need special amount of cement, and after the projects, those demands won't be there. So we have to put special arrangements, which we're thinking of, and we know largely what we're going to do with the NARA demand, but it's not in this allocation of imports. That's the broad outline. I'm willing to take questions, and of course, I'll answer details as you ask them. Okay? You take them afterwards. Thank you very much, Minister.
All right, thank you very much, Minister Hills. You've heard it. There we deliberated this at Cabinet quite a bit, and Minister Hill and his team did a lot of work on this. And so the key thing to remember is that he's dealing with the shortage that we have seen, and he has given more allocations for importers to bring in cement, obviously high quality cement, and he'll be monitoring that. And so it's very good to have a minister who's that responsive to the needs of the business community and also households that are rebuilding. So thank you, Minister Hill, and thanks to your team. I want to acknowledge your permanent secretary who is here, Sansia Bennett Templar. Also want to acknowledge our CEO in the Ministry of Education, Mrs. Terry Ann Thomas Gale. She is here. I also see the new head of the Jamaica Information Service here. Good to see you. Giovanni Dennis is here also. And so I will move on to our next presenter. I like the efficiency. Yesterday at the Diaspora Conference, that's going amazingly well. The PM spoke about efficiency, and we need to not drag out things longer than they need to be. So we're going very quick this morning. And so today we have with us our Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security and Peace, coming to give you an update on a matter that's been in the public domain since yesterday, and we want to clarify everything for you. That's why we're here. And so please welcome our Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang.
Thank you much, colleague, Minister Dina Morris Dixon, and good morning to the teams here. I think been recognized by both this moderator and my predecessor, Minister Hill. It's my privilege to join my colleague this morning at these press briefings. I said there seemed to be a very great turnout, so there might be some expectations. I don't know how much I can satisfy that. But there have been an issue in the news recently. A privilege to be speaking to the trans-TCN, third country nationals that are passed through Jamaica, but it has been headlined a number of other features which I need to clarify before I speak, and I have to do the clarification and take the questions. First of all, Jamaica is not receiving any deportees from the United States, except Jamaicans. May I repeat that? We have no agreement, no understanding to accept deportees from the United States. We accept every month 100 Jamaican deportees. And we have the expertise and the staff to manage their entry into Jamaica. That arrangement was negotiated by professionals so that they can come in a structured, organized manner and be resettled in Jamaica, their homeland. The cost of that is all Jamaican. We are receiving, and we have no agreement to or understanding, the MOUs, to receive convicts from the United States. And this, of course, any Jamaicans are deported, which we have agreements, because America is our primary ally and primary partner in trade and in security. And we do have deportees from Jamaica to the United States from time to time, or we have occasionally from the United States convicts. But we have no agreement, no understanding, and there are no discussions to accept convicts from the United States. In fact, anyone coming from the United States is reviewed by the NIB before I indicate that they can land in the country. There is no discussion, review, or understand to accept 10,000 illegal immigrants from the United States. Again, the only illegal immigrants we take from the United States are the Jamaicans who are there. And those conditions are negotiated by professionals from the Ministry of National Security and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have signed, after extensive negotiation by the relevant professionals, again mainly from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of National Security, Office of the Prime Minister, and of course the lawyers from the Attorney General's office. An agreement to transition to Jamaica some third country nationals from the United States. The number is 25. It's an understanding, and at no time will the number exceed 25, because we have the right to refuse anyone at any time. And both parties can terminate the entire agreement without any long-term notice. The process is basically the operational procedure is still being worked out, and are being negotiated by the professionals, and it will be some time before we see anyone landing here. But when they do, they will come on the basis of an understanding that the government of the United States will pay the initial stay in Jamaica. They'll be accommodated by the International Organization for Migrants, United Nations body, with which we are working, and of course the Ministry of National Security will deal with the technical legal side. There'll be nobody detained, nobody with detention, as part of an international understanding, not a bilateral agreement. The activity to transition them to Jamaica is a bilateral agreement negotiated between two governments who are allies in many areas, and in economy, security, and otherwise. Those are the facts as they are. We are among the about number 7 to agree in the Caribbean Latin American region, because our technical team sat down, negotiate all aspects of the issue. We are a small country. The staff to deal with the immigration section, that aspect, are limited, and therefore they have to go to the logistics of it. As I said, we already received just under 100 legal immigrants. They are Jamaicans, but they still have to go through a process. Already agreements were made between the United States government, Panama, Costa Rica, Belize, Antigua, St. Kitts, and Barbados. And they're discussing with other teams, which they expect to conclude in due course. We have concluded ours, but we don't expect any visitors until, I said, we set off on the operational details, which are not yet settled. And that's a matter that professionals will negotiate and settle, that we can handle them. Any questions? Those are the facts.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, DPM. So we're being efficient again, and we've given you the details. You would have seen the press release that was done yesterday. It gave a lot of information in there, and the reason a lot of information was given was because we wanted to say to the public, look, this is it. We've laid everything out. This is what is there. It's not finalized. There's some operational details to be finalized, but we gave a lot of details. And so we're here this morning ready to take your questions. Remember, Minister Hill is also here on the issue of cement, which has been in the public domain a lot. He can take questions there also. So let's go straight to the questions this morning.
Morning, everyone. Mahiri Stewart, Nationwide News here. Question for Dr. Chang. Who initiated the MOU and when was it signed?
No, MOU between countries are not a matter of initiating that. The Americans have which is the country, the immigrants have an issue that they are trying to settle, and we are one of their allies in the Caribbean, and we had discussion, it was initiated. We had discussion which had been prolonged, and we came to an agreement.
The agreement was when?
A few days back, I signed it. I think today is Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday of last week.
So remember, Mahiri, that the U.S. government has these agreements with several other countries. So this is something initiated, an initiative.
Besides several other minister, the Americans are our primary trading partner, primary security partner. We have bilateral relations in the United States, and what we call the ABC countries are very established. And discussions continue between the governments. We are, of course, the smaller partners, a fact of life. We are small, but discussions, bilateral discussions take place between governments that close on an ongoing basis. This is one in which they would have taken the lead because it's their problem, and one in which we can have some assistance.
Okay, the second question would be, obviously we're having this discussion now due to the fact that this information was leaked, but had it not been, when would we have
the information leaked is different from what I'm talking about. And that's the problem you're conflating two things. Some information suggesting that we were in the process of negotiating the reception of 10,000 illegal immigrants. There is no such discussion, and that leak has nothing to do with it this morning. It became part of a discussion because it is known that we're discussing the third country transit third country nationals through Jamaica, because there are several other countries in the Caribbean. We signed on Wednesday, and we decided we'd make a statement on it, and I reserved that statement for the diaspora event in Montego Bay yesterday, and we would have sent the press release out as normal.
Okay, well, for Jamaicans who are deported, are they or have Jamaicans ever been part of a TCN program from other countries?
What Jamaicans?
For Jamaicans who would have probably been deported from
No, I'm not. For Jamaicans who are deported?
From other countries. Has there been an issue where Jamaicans have been a part of TCN?
No, if Jamaicans have been deported to Jamaica, there's no issue. We receive them. The Americans, United States of America, have the vast majority of illegal migrants from Jamaica, of our illegal migrants, and we have an understanding between those. So they send us about 100 every month. I think they are looking at maybe sending back to Jamaica with over 3,000 Jamaicans. If we didn't have an understanding on how to handle it, negotiated by the professionals who have to do the work, all they do is set the policy, and there's no policy on that. Once a Jamaican is deported to Jamaica, we must receive them. What has happened, because we are friends, we work out a structured arrangement which allows us to manage it in an effective and efficient manner. And therefore, we take 100 a month, roughly. 2 shipments, 2 aircraft. Sometime 100, sometime less than 100.
And could you elaborate more on the accommodation for the third country nationals?
All right, that's your last question,
for
Mahiri. There are other reporters
accommodation
here.
for?
The third country nationals.
No, well, that's one of the issues that has been worked out. We'll have to work with the International Organization for Migration to find the appropriate accommodation for them. Until that is done, we can't receive any.
Morning, Kimon Francis from the Gleaner. Just to clarify, the Gleaner at no point reported that 10,000 TCN illegal immigrants were coming to Jamaica.
No, not TCN,
at no point.
deportees.
At no point. Question.
No, don't confuse it, you know. 10,000 deportees is different from 10,000 TCNs. They are not
MOU
deportees, they are not being detained, they are doing transition to Jamaica, and they have to put in a comfortable place to stay.
The MOU we were privy to that came from the US's embassy classified them as deportees.
Right.
Question, just seeking clarity. Did the U.S. initiate contact with Jamaica regarding the TCN arrangement, or did a senior government official first communicate that Jamaica is amenable to such an agreement?
No, TCN is an American request. They have done so with several allies across the region and throughout the world. So it's their challenge that they're trying to resolve in a human way.
So we never suggested it? That
no, we
would
couldn't suggest that. We don't have a problem. That's why we suggest. Okay. I mean, we don't have a problem. On this occasion, they are friends and they're seeking our assistance to resolve the problem.
Did the U.S. at any time communicate that the arrangement could see Jamaica receiving up to 10,000 third country nationals?
No, there's no such discussion between the governments of Jamaica.
Through no communication at all?
No.
Okay.
Well, if somebody talked to them on the street, I don't know about that. I am responsible, and the minister, all communication that goes to the government of the United States, I've personally in the case said to the diplomats, it goes to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They come from my office. Any communication with the United States government on immigration goes through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade.
Okay.
And no such communication or information has gone through.
Okay.
DPM, can I just add one thing? Cabinet decisions, there's no such cabinet decision on record.
That
no
too.
such cabinet decision.
But
and I've gone through all the cabinet decisions.
Cabinet decisions they come through me to Foreign Affairs. But again, I didn't get that far. It's just that we have had no such communication.
Again, it wasn't a decision. I asked about communication.
Right.
Why transit through Jamaica and not directly back to their country or their destination country?
No, that's a technical issue which have been discussed, and it is, as I said, several countries. Not why Jamaica is one of the an American ally in the Caribbean, and we work that through. It's the way it goes, I think, the philosophy behind it, and I can say that is why, is that if they stay in the United States, they have an opportunity to apply to stay. So the people are coming, and they're coming literally from being apprehended at the border and sent to Jamaica after some routine checks are done. They don't intend to stay in Jamaica, so the United States pay their airfare and they go back home. Their return rate so far has been about 94%. A few have opted to stay. There are a couple of Jamaicans in another country who are not coming back to Jamaica. They were deported by the United States. When that happens, the numbers in the next shipment drop by that number. So if all 25 decide to stay, so there'll be no crowding on Florida of Jamaica. If all 25 decide to stay, we stop the program immediately. And that's in the document. I don't know if you saw that part of it, but that's in the. And then the report, you said you have a document, and I'm saying, I don't know if you saw that.
All right, let's go to the next question.
Zara Burton, 18 Degrees North. Good morning. For how long will the MOU last?
It doesn't have an end point. No, it does still have the starting point either. It's an understanding which, while there's a need, we will work with. If we find it impossible to pursue it, we discontinue it.
How much will be paid per TCN to house them here as a government? How much will
I don't have
government
that off the top of my head because it is being worked out to the IOM, and that will depend on where they are staying and how long they stay, which will be a short time. But that cost is being worked out, and the United States has a bulk sum that they will pay the fees from. It will vary from individual to individual for different reasons.
And is it a situation where whatever we get to house each one of the TCNs is, let us say, additionally there will be some cushion in terms of revenue that we will be getting as a society, and also what will we be getting in addition to this money in return for doing this to help out our ally?
First of all, the initial bill will be paid by our IOM, so there's no revenue to come to Jamaica. The idea of what we get out of it is not a relevant question. America, I said, is one of our strongest bilateral partners. We have multiplicity of agreements, understandings, exchanges in all areas. It's not something you discuss. We do this today, we do that for you tomorrow. That's not a practice of any healthy bilateral relationship.
Is there any, or was there any pressure to Jamaica to engage? I know you said it was an American request, but was there any pressure in addition to the request for any other reason on us? Did they threaten to cut visas, or did they allow us to maybe have a revamp or reconsideration of processing of immigrant visas or something?
You're a long-standing journalist and an intelligent one, and no international discussion proceeds along those lines. We're not at war with anybody. Iran and America at war, they discuss Strait of Hormuz and bombing about his, but that's a war. We are two friendly countries, we have bilateral discussion daily. That kind of discussion doesn't take place in a healthy bilateral relationship.
Reuters had this question: where from will the TCNs come?
No, there are people who would be found in the United States illegally.
What national? Do you have a cutoff on certain kinds of nationals or all kinds of nationals?
One of the operational features for some of the Caribbean islands, just smaller than ours, is that they are Caribbean nationals. But initial discussion, we're looking more that they speak English.
They speak English, that's the criteria.
Initially, that's not settled it in the operation, but that's that's our primary demand at this point.
I think there's a question in front of you. I saw her hand go up first, and then we'll go back.
And just confirming, it's a cabinet decision, you said, right, Minister?
Which, the TCN?
You said there was no cabinet decision.
No, there was no cabinet decision on what was asked previously about the 10,000.
Right, but I'm saying it was a cabinet decision. There is a cabinet decision in this MOU?
TCN, and that would have been discussed.
All MOUs we have to inform cabinet.
Yes.
Right, so it was a cabinet decision ultimately, even though you, Minister, signed.
Yes.
Okay.
That's how MOUs work. You have to take them to cabinet.
I'm a creature of cabinet.
Okay.
It doesn't, anything I do on behalf of the government have to be approved by cabinet. as well as a creature of instruction that has to come from Cabinet and the Prime Minister.
Good morning, Adira Truth from Roots 96.1 FM. My question is actually to Senator Hill. The question, yes.
Thank you very much for that.
No problem.
Yeah.
You can come here. Yeah.
You know, like
the question that I have is, Minister Hill, in light of the challenges experienced by the cement industry in the ripple effects of recent supply disruptions, are there any measures considered to improve the sector's resilience and reduce the likelihood of future shortages, especially given Jamaica's vulnerability to hurricanes beyond temporary importation allowances?
It's a good question, and thank you very much. There are, I was hoping that I could just leave, but clearly that's not going to happen. It's a good question because when you have one supply of anything in any country, there's always a question of, are you just giving one supplier the chance? Are you taking care of the demand and the customers in the country? And when you have a small country of relatively less than 3 million people, how many cement plants can you have? There are people who talk about it and who might even say we were going to put money into it. But as policymakers, as we have to discuss at Cabinet about the country, we have to have one manufacturer that is here. First of all, we have all the limestone we need and lots of clinker. If we are going to have two, what's the market demand? Remember I told you we looked at the compound aggregate demand, and we say, well, there is not, the demand, the production that we have here is about 1.1 million metric tons. Normal situation, no hurricanes, none of those things. It's enough with a little bit of imports to take care of it. If you're going to put in a second plant, what is the economic break-even point for a cement plant? It's going to be many hundreds of metric tons. And therefore, if you put in that plant, aren't you going to have an oversupply where you're going to have a case where neither is sufficiently profitable to stay, and the very thing you're trying to protect, having a production facility in your country, goes away because you make a wrong additional production decision. So what we've done is we had one importer. We've added 1, 2, 3, 4 or so additional ones to make sure that there is a measure of competition. Now, when you're importing, I'm importing, two other people are importing, no matter how you tell us that we're friends, in the end, each of us want to make money. So there's a measure of competition in terms of the price being moderated. And at the same time, the supply is increased so that that area of supply demand equilibrium returns to normal. The issue of building a cement plant, we're going to have to see what NARA does. When NARA comes through, we all of us, I hope all of you in here, expect that there will be significant growth. Just the building. When you build, you have a truckman who is going to have, you're going to have a cement people, you're going to have craftsmen who get money. That money turns in the economy. We expect growth from it. When that new growth level comes, we then look again and say, well, is one plant enough for where we're going and where we have reached? At that time, a decision, a future decision, but I don't think we're there now, given the kind of analysis we've done in the market and the demand that we're looking at and the additional import quotas that we've given. Okay.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, ministers. Sashona Small from the Gleaner. I have two questions or three. To Dr. Chang, will the MOU that is signed to govern how we interact with the TNCs, will that be made public?
Will the MOU?
Yes, be made public.
It's a public document. Yes, it will be public. It will be available to the public. We don't normally publish them, but it's available to the public. Okay.
And can you tell us what is the latest, or give us timelines in place for the construction of the new modern prison?
Yeah. That's still some way off, but it has nothing to do with it, with the current status. The individuals we are receiving in the United States will not be detained in any of our corrections.
I'm just asking that question.
But the prison itself is still, we are acquiring the property in St. Catherine, and it is somewhere down the road. It will not become under it will not be one of the fast project. It's a huge project. We're looking on the possibility of about $30 billion. In fact, I would say that the police, well, there are several police facilities we like to build before. We have had to make significant efforts to improve the conditions like we're doing for police in our prisons. The population is 3,700. We have space, but we have been improving a number of them for the specialized prisoners we have. Oh.
I do have a question for Senator Dana Morris Dixon. The Justice Minister, Delroy Chuck, has said that Jamaica does not have a human rights problem. Is that also the government's position?
Well, obviously, we are a country that believes deeply in human rights. That has been at the heart of our mandate. And even if you look in our manifesto from last year that we used to tell the public what we were doing, we actually wrote about human rights and how important human rights are in terms of this government. And I think if you look at our track record, that's been very clear that that is a guiding principle of this administration. So I believe this administration deeply, deeply believes in human rights. And I think we've been operating under that premise as an administration. And you see it in the institutions. The support for the institutions we've given human rights is important.
And if I may ask a final question to Senator Aubin Hill.
Sure. Come on,
Minister, can you share the names of the companies that are importing cement to Jamaica? You mentioned that there were 4 companies. And if you could state the criteria under which these companies were selected.
You know, it's very interesting you should ask that question. The criteria was very simple. We had in the government a lot of calls in to the permanent secretary, to me, I imagine. I know, certainly to the Prime Minister. And so what we did, since everybody knew that there was a shortage, there are a number of people who wrote us and said, look, we would like to import cement to alleviate the shortage. And we responded to those who asked. And out of that, we made, looking at the compounded annual demand that we're looking at, we decided that we will, for a short period of time, 6 months, and 3 of what we ordered, one of them, but I'll give you Buying House, of course, got some more. They got up to 150,000 tons. Jamaica Logistics International Limited, they were given a new amount of 100,000 tons. Rock Hard Cement, Jamaica, was given 100,000 tons, and Rock Hard went to the Bureau of Standards and had the cement that they expect to import tested, and all the tests prove out, and every week I'm sending the PS and myself the new updated tests from our own Bureau of Standards, which is, of course, in my ministry. Tankwell Metals requested to be able to import. We said yes. We gave them 60,000 tons. Gore Development wanted to import 20,000 tons for the year. We gave them as well. And Island Concrete Company Limited wanted more than 60 tons, but they were awarded 60,000 metric tons. And those are the people who asked, and those are the ones we responded to. Okay? Sure.
Thank you for that answer, and all of that also came to Cabinet. Yes.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Jamila Maitland from TVJ. To Minister Chang, what does the government believe, our cabinet believe, is the most challenging part of this TCN arrangement? And 2, I noticed that other countries in the Caribbean, as you mentioned, have similar programs. In St. Kitts and Nevis, for example, the Prime Minister said that only Caribbean nationals will be accepted under their program.
Yeah.
Is it I know you said that, you're not sure about the nationality so far, but is it a similar case where you're saying only Caribbean nationals will be accepted? And what guarantee does the government have that the countries will accept their nationals after coming here?
All right. First of all, the operationalization has not been finalized in terms of what you do to operationalize. And in talking to the professionals, well, in exchanging thoughts with the professionals who are doing the discussion, this is a matter that I discuss with technical people in the ministry who have experience and foreign affairs. The primary criteria of established that they should speak English, which they should speak English. We have put nothing else on it. Would prefer if there are people who have skills and if they can speak English, it makes it easier to come to Jamaica. That's the only criteria. I have personally confirmed with the technical people. We look at other things. Jamaica is bigger than St. Kitts, and therefore we are like a more metropolitan country. We have Spanish tourists, we have German tourists, we have Japanese tourists. So the likelihood is that we'll get third country personnel from across the globe. We are seen as a possible assistant, not just to take a few for ease the pressure, but we have excellent air transport out of here to Europe and elsewhere, and that's why we have been asked to assist, and that we'll therefore work with our Jamaican professionals, work their counterparts to see how to operationalize when we settle the other issues like accommodation and timing and screening as is required, because we screen them coming in anyway. But we will have some indications that the NIB will look at that to ensure when we have the names, we're not getting the criminals or somebody else of ill repute. There's no guarantee what you're in this kind of agreement. There's no guarantee either way. When they get here, there are people who are moving illegally through very difficult challenges to get to the United States. As I said, they have been to other countries, and their immediate response in the first fortnight to get out is over 94% leave past their home country. They are not criminals. There are more people looking at a different opportunity. Jamaica, we have a big name, which is justified and a good brand, but the raw reality, which we sometimes tend to overlook, our per capita income is $7,000 per capita. It doesn't offer opportunities to people who are seeking to achieve a certain level of quality of life away from Jamaica and to live their dreams. They go to a country with a per capita income of $8,000 per capita. And that's where they're heading for. Majority are going to look to head back home and find a way back in the United States. Like some Jamaicans do, we take them in this week and they find a way back to the United States next week. People are doing that kind of activity. That's how they behave. And when we, in the real world, as government, we have to take decisions based on what we see as best practice. We can't make guarantees.
All right.
And I said, to other countries where the per capita income doubles ours, they have moved, I said, 94% moved within 2 weeks. Yes. And I said, the understanding is, if they stay here, we don't take any more. And make that very clear. At extreme end, if 25 say, the first 25 come and say, we're staying in Jamaica. You may not have the income, you may not see the jobs, or the, they might be professionals, like the one Jamaican professional who is staying where they are. They have no interest in coming back to Jamaica. They get a job and they actually get a pace compared to Jamaica, but they want to stay there. They may say that. If 25 come, then the program stops. I repeat that. If the 25 come and say, we are staying in Jamaica, the program stops. Ceases. Immediately.
All right. I believe we have Liver now. Good.
Morning, everyone. Liver and Barrett, the Gleaner Company. Minister, I wanted to just pick up. My question is right where you left off just now. Given that the agreement is now signed, can you tell the people of Jamaica what framework the government has put in place to ensure that none of the TCNs that we accept, that they don't leak into the Jamaican society? That's one. And two, Minister, can you sort of explain the difference in the handling of TCNs as against the handling of the Haitians when they come here?
The TCNs are being brought here under the understanding we have worked out with the United States government, and then they are handled in conjunction with the IOM. Haitians are coming here illegally. They are all illegal migrants. And we take positions to return them to their home as quickly as possible, directly. We don't have to send them to a third country. Those who stay apply for asylum, and we have to keep them in a place of, so we have to detain them until then. We don't detain TCNs. They are transitioning, or literally transitioning through the country. You go to an airport, and you are transiting on it, you wait a flight to the next one. If you land, technically it's almost similar to that. So the Haitians who are here, their cases are in court. Some have gone as far as they go to our courts first, and they go to the international courts, and they seek to get asylum. If they receive asylum, we keep them. It's international law. If they fail to receive asylum, then we send them back home in the nearest. Well, the best way we do it, we use our ships and send them back home. Two different things. We have a set of people coming from a friendly country, which we want to negotiate an understanding to bring them here and transit them to their home country. Haitians are coming here illegally, and we treat every other illegal migrant. We get illegal migrants from Pakistan, if I recall, our kind of recent ones, and other countries, and we send them back on the next flight. We get illegal migrants from the United States. Sorry, in relation to what?
How do they leak into Jamaica?
No,
what are the safeguards?
It's not about the leaking. We have received them in the country. Our status, they're here. They're not leaking. If they choose to stay, then we have to deal with it differently. Well, not differently. If they choose to stay, then they will have to apply to our courts for asylum status, and if they get asylum status, we retain them. If they don't, we send them home. At that time, we'll have to send them home at our cost.
All right, so I'm going to take Crystal. Crystal, you're the last question.
Okay, yes, and my question is for you,
name
Senator.
and
my name is Crystal Williams from CVM News.
Sure.
And I'm asking Senator Dr. Morris Dixon if you can give an update on the state of Port Antonio High as they've lost a student, and Ascot High as they've lost a teacher, both to gun violence recently.
Yes, no, that's, and you have the Minister of National Security and Peace here. And it is something that is affecting our school community big time, and that's why when we see the decline in the murder rate and crime generally, we in the Ministry of Education celebrate, because it means less of our children are affected, less of our families are affected. Our children are experiencing a lot of trauma in their homes, through violence in the home, and also in their communities. And that's affecting how they're learning. And so I have a challenge, and the team in the ministry has a challenge in terms of the country says we need to get better CSEC passes, and I agree, we need to get there. But there are also certain enabling factors that are important if we're to get there. And so the violence that our children face and our teachers face in their communities, that trauma takes, it manifests itself in the classroom. It affects brain development. It affects how they learn. It is real. And so those challenges are some of the other non-Ministry of Education challenges that we have to deal with. And it breaks our heart every single time we lose a child or we lose a teacher. And in this country, we have to mourn every death. And when DPM and the team speak about the reduction in crime, it may seem esoteric sometimes, but it's lives that have not been lost. It's children who have not lost their parents. And so it's very important that we continue to talk about it, celebrate the wins, but understand that there is more work to be done. And I thank the Ministry of National Security and Peace. They're doing fantastic work with us in the Ministry of Education, and we're going to be bolstering that, because we have to build a generation of young people who understand conflict resolution and understand deeply peace, so that we don't continue to perpetuate this cycle of violence. DPM, I think you wanted to say something, or you're good?
I think it should be said. School violence is something we recognize the problem. Besides direct violence, we also know that to effect cultural change, as indicated in the violence report, which are done by a team of experts and commissioned by the Prime Minister, we have to take some steps to influence cultural behavior in Jamaica. And one of the principal areas we get that is in the schools. And we have a very extensive program. I think we are working in 39 schools now, and we look at how to scale that up to all the schools that seem to have vulnerabilities and go beyond that. We started with the schools which were primarily near to the zones of special operations, which have clearly defined vulnerabilities, and we are working through those to bring about the kind of support and changes that will reduce this kind of incident. It's a major tragedy when you're a teacher or a child in any of our schools, and the government views them seriously and is investing resources in there. Our case management program is one that is now seen as accepted internationally as one of the better programs of intervention, which we are looking at scaling up in areas in order to reach the schools. The school resource officer is a police officer. It's not a matter of imposing police in the schools and locking out students and arresting students. He's a specially trained police officer to assist these of discipline in the schools, but critical to work with our case managers to interface with the families who have been affected by this kind of trauma, and to ensure we can interface program or bring in program that will prevent the activity we're talking about, because in this case, the old Jamaican saying is still stands, prevention is better than cure. What we're doing here is to cure and prevent.
All right, thank you. Thank you, DPM. And that was the last question that we're gonna take for today. It's always very good to have you, DPM. Very good to have you, Minister Hill. Very good to have all the members of the media. You can stay back a little bit. I know some of you, I look on your faces, and I know you still have some more questions. We are staying here with you. Just as a wrap up, this is a post-cabinet press briefing. You'd have heard what was discussed in cabinet. The cement issue was a big one, and Minister Hill has given you indications that we have approved increased importation of cement, and that we're expecting that will ease the pressures in the market. We've even heard of the persons who need to do burials and having issues with that shortage. We've been listening, and we have acted on that one. In relation to the TCN issue, I know I heard a lot of the talk yesterday while I was at the diaspora conference, just people calling about it. As you heard from DPM, and I'm just closing out, these are US initiated agreements. Many countries have signed them. The United States is a good partner of Jamaica, has been for a long time. The teams negotiated this MOU for a long time, and they were back and forth for many months on it. Cabinet got it. Then after the negotiations, Cabinet deliberated for quite some time on it, and Cabinet approved, but we're not final. There are terms, as DPM has told you, that we need to finalize. Once those are finalized, we will come back to you and say to the people of Jamaica, this is what we expect to take place. For my post-cabinet notes, I have details here from our cabinet meeting that would be presented to you. I was preempted by someone yesterday, but we are, as always, coming to you with the details. That's why that press release was done yesterday, with a lot of details that usually bilateral agreements, you don't issue releases like that. But we felt it was important to clear the record and to tell Jamaica what it is that we are doing, and the fact that we truly believe we are acting in Jamaica's best interest. And so I thank you again for coming this morning, and we look forward to the next post-cabinet press briefing, where we will again make ourselves available to the media to answer your questions. So thank you, and as always, may God continue to bless this wonderful country that we call Jamaica. Goodbye, everyone, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.
By the document I signed off on, it didn't have deportees in there. Just for information. Don't define the TCN.
Last word from DPM. DPM, say it again, one more time.
TCN document I signed, I just looked at the release. I said, no, she should not have had deportees in there, but it may have, the one you see may have had it, I don't know. But I didn't approve of it.
So
right?
the document he signed does not have
the
the
release
word
I have
deportees.
out here, sorry, I looked at the release. I didn't use deportees in there because they're not supposed to be. They are not deportees.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you.
Let's talk granting aid. Eligible targeted loan applicants may receive a non-repayable granting aid of $60,000. These funds can be used for school-related expenses such as traveling, buying food, housing, or purchasing a laptop, for example. Eligibility is determined by the financial circumstances of applicants and the availability of grants.